So I'm coming to you tonight um, on behalf of Christ Exposed Ministries and on behalf of our YouTube channel, Mojo Quee Smith. Um, we left off in my book reading a song called Life that I had made up. And so that's where we're going to start at. All right. I hope your day has been good. Mine has, but I also had some disturbing news in this day. Yet I do believe that the Creator is going to allow it to work for my benefit and for the benefit of those that are connected to me in a positive light. Hallelujah. I thank you for joining me on today, and I look forward to finishing the book with you and allowing your feedback as in the form of comments or your feedback as in the form of views or in any positive way. Just let me know that you completed the book with me and that you are receptive to what the Creator has spoken through me using this book. All right, so let's keep going. The name of it is Life. We're on page 46 in my book called It Hurts Like Hell, but I Want to Go to Heaven. It says, I just be vibing and so should you. What do we have to lose? Might as well keep it true. But sometimes I feel like I'm headbutting steel. This mess ain't going nowhere. Yo, the struggle is real. If I ain't catching a ride here, I'm needing a babysitter now. Having mad bills due, it's like you'll never get through to the other side. Paradise seems nice. Catch yourself fantasizing about it. Blink twice. Can't take certain situations, gotta write about 'em. Black ink and college ruled, ain't no living without 'em. The substance of what you hope for, evidence of what you can't see. Is anybody out there feeling me? It's a backward cycle, 'cause you're born to die. Can we live? 'Cause everybody who tries dies. Blood alcohol content over the limit. Steady turning it up to keep from trying to kill it. Forget it. Food extremely low like a backstabbing friend. Waiting on the first, spending them government ends. Then again, it depends on your gross dividends. Single mother of three, without it, no wins. It gets so ill that you'd rather just steal than borrow. Hand somebody else that sorrow. Then tomorrow comes always faster than ever, bringing more of life's problems, always tougher than leather. Aggravation, frustration, unlimited tension, fussing everybody out. Oh, I forgot to mention all them pains and stuff taking place in your dome. Call them headaches, making you want to stay home. Pulling that line on your peeps, just leave me alone. Now, that was the end of that one. But as you can see, there was a lot of frustration there. And it was a lot of frustration that had to do with life. And so, even as an adult, I can say that these are very real stressors. And we deal with them in different ways based on our age, based on our financial stability, based on our mental state, and based on the things that we've been taught, whether it be taught through a person or taught through life experiences. Listen, everything we go through, it is indeed a learning experience. And if anybody's ever told you to be a lifelong learner, they've given you a piece of gold. And you need to take that and utilize it, because in order to achieve anything in life, you have to learn something. All right. And I always say at the end of these videos, I always ask you to make sure that you learn obedience through the things that you suffer. And in this life, uh, the things that we should be practicing learning is not learning to live without sin. No, that's what the church would practice, or that's what religious people practice. And it is a dead practice, because it will always end in you either binging in the sin that you're trying to omit, or you actually being caught in the middle of the sin that you're trying not to commit and being exposed before everyone, therefore bringing you more issues than you had previously. because then you've hurt your witness, you've damaged your witness with other people, and no one will take you seriously after that. And then you have to work for more time, and you have to gain more prestige and more of the faith of the people. Because if they don't see you walking in what you believe, then how do you expect them to walk in what you believe? And how do you expect them to even adopt what you believe if you're not showing forth what you believe to be something worth believing in? All right, and I didn't have these examples when I was writing this book. I didn't have anyone that I could look to. All the people in the church that were the people that you were supposed to look up to, they were always too busy, and it got to the point where the leader of the church that I was a member at, you had to start making appointments to see them. And it made me feel that much further away from the creator when I was at that church. And it wasn't until I had gotten my prayer room, and spent more time in my prayer room, in my prayer closet with the creator, whenever that was the only time where I would actually get answers from heaven, and I would actually go to church with those answers inside of me, and the creator would bring those answers out for other people. And I so enjoyed it, and I'm grateful that the creator still does that through me. It is an honor and a privilege. But let's get back to reading. That was the end of that song called Life. And I've been getting some ideas lately. I want you all to let me know what you think about me actually taking the songs from this book and compiling a CD, and maybe placing it on one of my videos so that you all can hear it actually being performed. That sounds like a good idea. And we're going to pray about it some more, and we're going to let the creator decide. All right, so let's keep reading. We're on page 47. Thanks again for joining me. All right. It says, I had been introduced to marijuana before, but I was never addicted to it until after I went to college. Excuse me, I know somebody can vouch for that one, right? I smoked constantly. I had to be high, I felt, in order to do everyday activities such as washing dishes or even going to work. Yes, I was on the job high. When I smoked marijuana, I had no problem being myself. I could express myself without writing, and this was one of the tools that Satan used in order to keep me addicted for so long. I seemed to have what I had always wanted, to be myself. I made lots of friends because everyone seemed to have the same habit. I even remember being enemies with one girl for about 3 years. But one day we met up in college and I was so high. We ended up conversing because she smoked marijuana also. I would smoke before I went to school, during my breaks at school, sometimes on the way home from school, and especially when I got home from school. Nate and I used to tease each other all of our so-called friends. Everyone who came to visit us brought us marijuana. Nate and I never had to purchase any. Well, not most of the time. I used to say that I had green coming to my house every day like an after-school special. I invested large amounts of money in Visine and colored sunglasses. If I wore green, my glasses had to have green tint so that no one could tell that I was high in public. I am in no way glorifying my past. I merely want you to see how severe my addiction to marijuana was. There was a time in my Math 140 class when I was high, and I couldn't contain my laughter. My teacher was furious with me and asked me if I wanted to teach the class since I kept interrupting it. I laughed and said, "Yep." So I taught the class how to do the particular problem that he was teaching before I interrupted him. Everyone claimed to understand it better when I taught it. Funny, right? Well, we ended that class period with a quiz, which I still think my laughter was the cause of, and I received a grade of 104. That is nothing to celebrate, of course, but it was quite surprising at the time. While attending this particular college, I had loads of free time. My classes were scheduled as follows: First class, 8:45 to 9:45 a.m. Second class, 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Break, 11:35 a.m. to 1:15 p.m. Third class, 1:30 p.m. to 2:15 p.m. Sometimes I would only have two classes per day, and I would sometimes skip those classes depending on how high I was. We would all go out across the campus to the edge of the property where it touched the interstate, and there were some trees in that area. We cleared out places behind those trees where we could sit and smoke. Some would even bring chairs and alcohol. As I told you previously, I would also get high before I arrived at school. My older cousin moved across the street from me, and somehow she found out that I smoked marijuana. Excuse me. She invited me over one day and we got high together. So she would be standing outside every day. It became a routine. Every morning before I went to school, she would be outside on her porch or leaning out of her front door, calling me over with a blunt or joint in her hand. And I would go over and get high before my ride came for school. My dependence upon marijuana was unreal. I lost touch with my mom, and even though I was terrible under her roof, just being in the same house with her seemed to shield me from all the things that I was now running head on into. She didn't visit my house for an entire year. This hurt me, but I wasn't the daughter that she wanted to see. And I'm sure that hurt her. I weighed anywhere from 92 to 102 pounds. I was always high or intoxicated. My lips were black as ink, and my arrogance made being around me unbearable for anyone who wasn't engaged in an illicit lifestyle as well. One of the last times that she did visit was unforgettable. When she opened the door, the smoke from the marijuana crept out from under it. I remember she sat in my living room with Nate and myself. We weren't smoking, but we had been. The smoke still filled the atmosphere of my apartment. I think this was the visit that put her over the top. She actually left my house with a contact. This is when a person who hasn't actually smoked comes into contact with someone who has or is presently. The smoke from the marijuana gets that primarily unsuspecting person high as well. She was laughing while she was there, and it was pretty funny for what it was. I didn't see her brighten the interior of my doorway for a full year after that, though. By now, I was years into my relationship with Nate, so you know that he was smoking with me. We would have crowds of people at our house to smoke, drink, or whatever. My children spent most of their time in their rooms, and I would go in there with them a lot to make sure they were all right. But I still had to have my marijuana. I don't care how much Visine, clear eyes, or sunglasses that I wore. I know my children that knew that I was impaired, even though they were so young. If that was hard to read, imagine how hard it was to write. I love my children with every fiber of my being, and I'm elated in knowing that they see the creator in me now instead of THC. It's kind of funny now when I talk with my children and I tell them what's not cool to do, because I also have to tell them how I know that it's not cool. They don't believe me when I say that I once used drugs and foul language on a regular basis. I praise the creator for that. They see me as this individual, even though I tell them otherwise. It's extremely humbling. All right, this section is called Intermission 2. Some of my classmates were going to perform during halftime of a basketball game, so I decided to attend. I actually enjoyed the game, even though we thought that the referee cheated a little for the opposing team. There was a group there who didn't like the group that I was with, but I didn't worry about it because I wanted to enjoy myself. When the buzzer for halftime sounded, everyone started heading for the food court. One female put her coat down where she was sitting at and she said, "If anyone knocks my coat down, I'm going to beat their behind." Well, I didn't quote her exact words because she used profane language, of course. Anyway, I didn't like this particular female, and she wasn't fond of me either. A lot of people had been trying to persuade us to fight because they knew we didn't like each other, but I didn't want to start any trouble. You guessed it, when the lady came back, her coat was on the floor under where she was sitting. I was sitting nearby, but I hadn't touched her coat. I thought this whole thing was so petty. It still amuses me. She immediately approached me with the drama. I said that if anyone knocked my coat down, And that's just what I'm gonna do as soon as this game is over. I just looked at her because I knew I was innocent. I also knew that she didn't have even the slightest chance of winning against me in a physical altercation. I guess everyone thought that I was afraid of her because I didn't say anything in response to her ranting and raving. But I didn't mind. She kept yelling and making comments to and at me through the remainder of the game. As you know, I got tired of it. Those who were with me were wondering why I was being so quiet about the matter. Last buzzer sounds and it's time to go. Good. Now she wouldn't have anything else left to say. After all, she said everything that needed to be said during the game. I took a stroll out on the open field and waited for her to keep her word. I waited and waited. She never came. I went back to the gymnasium where she was and told her to come on and beat my behind like she said she would. I'm coming. Don't rush your beat down. All right, well, at least I knew she hadn't stood me up or anything. I went back out to the field and waited some more. She never came. And by this time, I was getting aggravated. I walked back up there, but by the time I got up there, she was coming out with a crowd of people with her. Cool. She looked mad too. Perfect. So I walked back to the field with her actually right behind me. Oddly enough, she didn't take the free opportunity to hit me while we were walking. This let me know that she was afraid of me. Well, that and the fact that I had to practically retrieve her from the gym. Everyone gathered around, but we were both just standing there looking crazy. My mom came to pick me up, but I wasn't ready to leave yet because we hadn't fought. I walked up to my mom's car and opened the door and said, Mom, this girl said she's going to beat my behind, so I'm going to let her try it. Then I walked over to the lady whom we'll call Step and said, Hey, didn't you want to fight? And then I hit her in the face. We finally began to fight. It was weird because she was pulling on me and I was hitting her. I had her head in my hand and was punching her, but she kept backing up in a circular pattern. It looked like we were dancing around in a circle. Then two of her people tried to jump in. Two of my people jumped in. Then Mom and the police officer on duty jumped in, and it was all over. This is a poem called Take It Back. It says, Take it back, the pain, misunderstandings. Take it back, the experiences, circumstances. Take it back, shortcomings, underestimations. I'm sick of it. They don't think I am who I am, but I am what and how you made me. So what? I don't articulate myself like you. So what? I don't talk as much as you'd like me to. I write, I sing, I dance, I pray. Hey, catch me on a good day and I still like to play. I am my own way, the way the Creator made me. I can't be who you want me to be. I appreciate you showing me what it's all about, though. The heads up, good looking out, dead street beyond, dead street bound for disaster, no doubt. Even writing, I don't know, is part of poetry. You feel as you go. I do know that I don't want this, not over again. Misunderstandings, underestimations, shortcomings. You can have all that. Take it back, take it back, take it back. I really liked that poem. It helped me to relieve a lot of stress. All right, I hope y'all ready for this segment. This is what I call a hot segment because it reveals a lot of things that's happened in my life. Yes, I have revealed a lot to you already, indeed, but there's a lot more to come in this new segment called BC Days. I do, however, want to take a pause for the cause, and I will come right back to you in a few moments, guaranteed. Don't go nowhere. Stay strong in the faith. Stay focused on what you're doing and the purpose for doing it. Don't let go. Regardless of whether they try to come at you from one way or about 40 different ways, you still stand. You keep fighting. Don't let them see you sweat. Cry if you got to. But after you cry, get back up and keep fighting. They won't beat you if you keep fighting. This I know to be sure. I'm a witness. All right, I'm going to see you in a little while. And no matter what, I want you to be in love, and you will be well.